What is up, everybody? I'm hoping you're all well, and firstly, before I get into this video, I'd just like to apologise for being away for about 2 weeks, I think it is. I've been incredibly busy with work, and on my days off I've been lazing about in bed because I'm a lazy sack of shit. But while I've not had a chance to actually record my reviews, I have still been going to the movies, I've still been seeing films, and while the first 2 reviews that I'm going to be putting up for you guys are from about 2 weeks ago, I don't know if you're really going to be interested in hearing my thoughts on those, but you know, I'm going to do it anyway because I actually enjoyed the movies, and I also enjoyed talking about movies with you guys. But you'll also have another 4 reviews coming at you at some point this week as well, because I went to the pictures on Sunday, literally spent the entire day there from 10 o'clock in the morning until 8 at night watching one movie after the other. So I am basically recording 6 reviews for you guys today, which is a very bad day for me to do this. I feel like I've chosen the worst time because it feels like my voice is going, which isn't ideal. So let's stop waffling on and hopefully my voice can manage to survive the 6 reviews that I'm going to record for you guys, and let's jump straight into these movie reviews. And then kicking things off, we are jumping straight into the latest installment of the MCU. Black Widow. So Black Widow, as I mentioned, is the latest entry into the MCU and takes place after the events of Civil War. Scarlett Johansson returns as Black Widow and is now on the run. She's in hiding. Obviously, because she sided with Cap during the whole fight, it's now made her a criminal, and General Ross is coming after her, basically trying to find her, so it leads her to go into hiding. My voice is already going. But while hiding, she comes across a mysterious package that has been sent her way, and she is thrust back into action and is forced to face her past, a past that she had long buried deep inside. And obviously, this movie was supposed to come out last year, but just kept being pushed further and further back, to the point where we now have it in cinemas. We can now experience it on the big screen and on Disney Plus if you buy it on Premier Access. I went to see it on the big screen in IMAX because I'm a movie nerd, and obviously I just feel like that's how movies should be seen, on the big screen. I just think it's a lot of fun. But has the wait been worth it? Not only have we been waiting over a year for this movie to actually be released, we've been waiting since Black Widow's introduction for her to first get her solo film. And now that it's finally here, I have to say, it wasn't a bad movie at all. I really enjoyed this movie. Now, MCU has never really made a terrible film. They've made disappointing movies, or some that aren't necessarily as good as the others. I mean, Thor: The Dark World, in my opinion, is the worst MCU movie in my opinion, but it's still watchable. I can still watch that film and have a good time with it. Same with The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton. It's not a terrible film. It has moments where you can look at it and go, ah, bit naff there, but overall it's an enjoyable film. And while this movie itself doesn't live up to the hypes of like the original Iron Man or the Avengers movies or anything like that, it is still a very good movie, and of course Scarlett Johansson just absolutely kills it as Natasha Romanoff. She's just fantastic in this role. She knows this character inside and out, and as we've known, she's a very damaged character. She's clearly had a past, and this is our chance to now delve into that past and find out what actually happened to her. And while it was fascinating learning about her past and seeing the type of person she was before she actually became an Avenger, before she became a superhero, although not technically a superhero because you don't have any superpowers, but we'll get onto that point in just a moment. It was great learning about her past and seeing a more vulnerable side to Natasha that we've not really seen too much before. And that vulnerable side of her is brought out when she reunites with her sister, played incredibly by Florence Pugh, who's just such a talented actress. She absolutely knocks out of the park in this movie. She gave such a strong, raw and emotional performance in this film, and her comedic timing as well was just on point. The chemistry with Scarlett Johansson was just fantastic. They bounced off of each other really well. They were great on screen together. She just made for a very compelling character in this movie, and I absolutely loved her performance. That being said, this is where one of my first issues with the movie does come in, because obviously we know Black Widow, we know that this is set before Avengers Endgame, and spoilers for Avengers Endgame, obviously she does die at the end of that movie. So we know that Natasha isn't going to be in any real danger in this movie, so I thought, oh, it's going to focus more on the sister or the family that we get introduced to a little bit further down the line, and that's where most of the stakes are going to be, that's where most of the tension's going to be. And while we did a great job of introducing these characters into the MCU, and I am hoping to see these characters again in the future, they weren't the main focal point of the movie. And I understand that it's a Black Widow film and it is her film, so we should be focusing on her and her past, but in that I feel like her family members, especially the sister, could have been fleshed out a lot more, especially if we are setting her up to be such a major player in the future of the MCU. While a lot of the times in this movie we're seeing Natasha in danger to the point where her life could be on the line, we know that it's not, because she survives it to go on to the events of Avengers Endgame. Whereas we don't know much about these other characters. We don't know much about Florence Pugh's character, or even David Harbour's character, or Rachel Weisz's character. And so it made sense to sort of focus more of the tension around those guys and making it seem like, oh, maybe these guys aren't going to make it out of it, and maybe this is why she has so much weight on her, especially at the end of Avengers Infinity War, why she feels so lost and defeated. I mean, obviously she feels lost and defeated in that movie because she failed to stop the snap and half the universe got wiped out, but having that weighing down on her as well as losing her family could have played an interesting part in the movie. But obviously we don't know what's going to happen to these characters, so I thought the tension would have focused on them. It didn't. It focused on Natasha more than anything. So I feel in that regard the movie did fail in building any sort of tension, because I didn't genuinely feel like any other character in this movie was in danger, other than Natasha, who, again, we know is going to survive. And speaking about David Harbour and Rachel Weisz in this movie, they were both fantastic as well. It's great seeing them on screen. I mean, I was always excited to see David Harbour anyway in a movie. It's David Harbour. He is fantastic. He's hilarious in this movie. He's incredibly charismatic. He's very arrogant in this movie as well, very clearly oblivious to the fact that what he's done to his family has torn them apart, and there is that divide in them. But there is still that trust between them, there is still that connection that they need to build up on. It is a bond that was broken that can very easily be fixed if they unite. And while I can't go into too much detail about it due to obviously spoilers, it is clear that David Harbour does feel some sort of care and responsibility for his two girls. Rachel Weisz is also fantastic in this movie. She's a great performance. I would have liked to have seen a bit more of her in this film. They don't really do much with her character in this movie up until towards the end. And the whole plan towards the end with her and Natasha Romanoff's character, I feel, could have been executed a little bit better. But overall, the main performances I can't really fault. You also have the sort of main villain being Taskmaster, who I won't spoil is of course a mystery character who gets revealed later on. And while the character is badass in terms of the action sequences, I'm very familiar with the character in the comics, and I feel like it was a big departure to what we see in the comics. Granted, I'm not sure if we're going to do anything with this character in the future of the MCU. I have no idea. Obviously, due to spoilers, I can't go into anything that happens in this movie. But if this is their one and only appearance in this movie, I feel like they probably failed this character. I also have your main villain played by Ray Winstone in this movie, and Ray Winstone, I adore the actor. I think he's fantastic. But in the trailer, he has one line where he says, "Bring her home," and you can very much hear that it's Ray Winstone. He has that Cockney twang in his voice. It's a very distinctive voice. It's his voice. You hear that voice, you know it's Ray Winstone. And I assumed it was just going to be Ray Winstone doing his normal accent in this movie. However, that's not the case. A lot of the characters in this movie put on a Russian accent, and while Florence Pugh, David Harbour and Rachel Weisz pretty much nail the accent and do a very good job in keeping the accent up throughout the entire runtime of the movie, Ray Winstone doesn't seem to do that. Now, there are times when it does work, but there are also certain phrases that he says where you can hear that Cockney twang come out. You can clearly hear that he's not Russian. And that's nothing against the actor's abilities. I think he's a terrific performer. I think he's fantastic in this movie in terms of performance. Not very intimidating in my opinion, but he's more of a tech-savvy villain rather than a hands-on villain. But the accent really let me down in this movie. It was quite laughable at times when you're hearing him talk and you can clearly hear that it's Cockney, not Russian. But bless him, he did try in this movie, and honestly, I can't fault his performance. He was a very entertaining character, although a bit drab and dull. It is one of those things with the MCU where their characters are a bit lackluster. And while he definitely could have been more threatening and commanded more of a presence in the overall film, he was still enjoyable. I liked him. I think it might have been because I found it entertaining hearing him do a Russian accent when I know he's clearly not Russian, and it entertained me. As for the action sequences in this movie, they are very explosive, very exciting, and that blended with the humour and the comedic timing of its actors does work well together. Combine that as well with the more emotional beats in this movie, especially where the family are sat down around the dinner table talking about how real their family life was or how fake it was. I thought that was all really well done, and again I've got to give a big shout out to Florence Pugh in that scene because she just absolutely stole that scene for me. She's able to portray such strong emotion just from her body language, her facial expressions, and just through looks in her eyes, just the way that she glances at characters. She's just phenomenal in this scene and phenomenal throughout the entire film. That being said, the other main issue I have with this movie, other than the fact that they didn't really focus as much on the family as I thought they should have, considering, you know, we know Black Widow, is that Black Widow is not a superpowered being. She doesn't have any superpowers. She's not like the Hulk, or she's not like Captain America or anything like that. She doesn't have any super soldier serum running through her veins. She's just a normal human being who knows how to kick ass and knows how to use weapons. But there are things that happen in this movie where she should have died, and I know it's obviously a big superhero blockbuster or anything like that, and you're not supposed to take it too seriously, but when you know that this character is human, much like Hawkeye, like when you see Hawkeye in previous movies, even Black Widow in previous movies, when they get hit, they are down, they are hurt, you can see them reeling, whereas in this movie, she takes hits that would have broken bones, and she just gets up and walks away. Like, it baffled me as to why they chose to do that in this film. And to be honest, because of that, it really brought me out of the movie, and I honestly just found it very bizarre why they did it like that. I don't understand why they portrayed her as being this super-powered being who could survive basically all the onslaught that she takes in this movie. That being said though, overall this is a very fine addition to the MCU. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a very good time. I thought the director did a very good job of having the camera follow the action a lot of the times. I thought the action sequences were very well shot, to be honest. And they also did a very good job of slowing the pace down towards the more emotional parts of the movie where it had been too boring or dragging on for too long. The score for this movie was also really good. It definitely helped heighten the action sequences and the emotional moments of the film. And the performances, as I mentioned, were all fantastic all around near enough, other than Wade Winston's funny little accent. Should this movie have come out earlier in terms of the MCU timeline? Yes, I feel like it definitely should have. I feel like it would have benefited more from doing so. I feel like it also didn't help that we had to wait a year due to the coronavirus pandemic pushing this movie even further, especially in terms of the post-credit scene in which a character is revealed who was supposed to be revealed in the post-credit scene there before being... Oh my god, who's honking? Stop honking while I'm recording. But yeah, there's a post-credit scene in this movie where a particular character is revealed who was supposed to be revealed first in this post-credit scene before then being revealed in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But obviously due to the virus that got pushed, and so Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out before and this character was introduced more then. So, excuse me? And so it felt a little bit messy revealing that character in that point. However, it does set up Florence Pugh being more involved in the MCU, which I'm very excited about. Like I said, I thought she absolutely stole the film in terms of performance, and I would have very much liked it to focus more on her rather than Natasha, as much as it is her movie. But this movie was basically here to introduce her family into the MCU, and in terms of doing that, I don't think they did as good a job as they probably should have. But other than that, like I said, very enjoyable movie, fine addition to the MCU. I could definitely go out and watch it again. Performances all around amazing. Thought the direction was good, score was good, Wade Winston's fun little voice was very entertaining to me, and so for all those reasons, I'm going to give Black Widow 4 stars. So, Black Widow, have you guys seen it yet? What do you guys think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and for some more videos just like this one, and subscribe to my channel for more. Thanks again for watching. You guys are awesome, and I will see you all in the next video.